Yes, good people, big up to all of you, and welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another transfer show on Chelsea Perspective. A couple of news items to discuss, some controversial, some with regards to the club being investigated for the signing of Samuel Eto'o and William. We will look at that. Also talk about Florian Wirtz. We'll talk about Victor Osimhen, Marc Guehi, and other news items we have lined up. But more importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. I appreciate you all finding the time to join me this morning. It's still morning for me. It's still 11:38 a.m. Some of you evening already. Some of you are, appreciate whatever it is. I wholeheartedly offer my greetings to you. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, thanks once again, and welcome back to another Transfer Watch show on Chelsea Perspective and overall Chelsea news. And thank you to those of you who's already dropped a like on the stream. I cannot thank you enough. We have 10 likes already. We should be doing better than that. And we'll talk about, as I've mentioned before, we'll talk about Florian Wirtz, Victor Osimhen, Marc Guehi, William, some comments are from the manager himself. And we have a lot. You can say we don't have too much lined up for today, but we'll talk quite a lot about the later we'll have lined up. So let me say hello. We don't have too many people in the chat already, but we have my bro, JC. Big up to you. Big up, Coachella. How are you? I can't complain. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining. Before we rush on to topics I just mentioned, and by the way, Blackburn plays 3-5-2 as well. Wow. Okay, that's an important one. We'll talk about that in detail when we go into match prediction show. That's what we call it, but it is a mashup of the match prediction and also lineup prediction exercise and also match preview. Big up Kachila and JC in the comments, and that's DJ. Much love to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Hello to you, to Constantine Dante. Much love, brother, and I like the way you say my name. Wish I could hear you say it. I can't be saying my own name. You can say I can't be saying my own name the way I know you want me to say it. Man, come on, I can't do that. And Eugene is in the house. Much love to you too, Eugene. I appreciate you finding the time to join. And people are exchanging pleasantries there. Always nice to see you. We'll have 14 likes already, and we're just 10 minutes into the show. And quickly, I want to appeal to those of you who are watching the show, but for one reason or the other, not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you for listening and watching, tuning in alone. That does go a long way. We appreciate that. And quickly, I want to ask you one favor, one tiny bitty favor, to please take a second and drop a like on the stream. The likes that do go a long way. It will help us. It will trigger the YouTube algorithm and get it to push the stream to more people who'll be interested in the topics we'll have lined up today. Let's see. Hey, just people saying hello too. Big up to the comments. And remember to smash the like button. Keep smashing the like button. Let's get as many likes as possible. And quickly, I want us to start with this particular item here. Let's go through it before we continue. This one here, I'll bring it back. This says the sources have told the Times that the transfers of the Brazilian midfielder Willian and the Cameroonian striker Samuel Eto'o from the Russian club Anzi Makachala. Sorry if I butchered that name in August 2013 are part of the investigation after they were flagged up by Chelsea's present owners. Smart. A smart thing to do. Better off, say something before the authorities find out. That shows you have good intent. You don't want to be part of it because the owners could have just swept it under the rug and move on. So it's a smart thing to do. Be upfront with it. And then when the authorities come, you say, look, this wasn't done under our regime. It was done under the previous regime. So you have no right to blame us for this. I think even if they take Chelsea to court, I think, yeah, that one. So in my opinion, but keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes. Let's see what else do we have here. Saying hello to Eugene. Nothing else to address. This is a Kachila. It's pronounced Makachala. Okay, I'm not gonna even try right now. Maybe I need time to practice. Big up the Chelsea family. Tob as Mike Kenya, bro. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. So let's look at two club statements here. The first one with regards to the that report that for the club flagging the signing of Willian and Samuel Eto'o. It says here a Chelsea statement on the investigation over Willian and Samuel Eto'o transfers. These allegations predate the club's current ownership, which makes sense. Which you could argue was the main reason why they were upfront and not wait for the authorities to discover the issues and then were in trouble. These allegations predate the club's current ownership. They concern entities that were allegedly controlled by the club's former owner and do not relate to any individual who is presently. Let's expand that so we can see the whole comment there. And do not relate to any individual who's presently at the club. So I don't think it makes any sort of sense to punish Chelsea for it. But of course, with Chelsea, I wouldn't rule out the FA or some other body finding a way to punish Chelsea for something they know nothing about. In my opinion. And this particular comment here, some good news, or some people called it. Let's zoom out there. It says we recognize the commitment of our match-going supporters and appreciate the unwavering loyalty they give to the watching the team home and away. Therefore, as a sign of appreciation for fans making this trip, Chelsea Football Club will be offering free travel as a goodwill gesture to anyone who purchases a ticket. Coaches will be available to take supporters to and fro the match at no cost, available to book when match tickets go on sale. Good gestures there from the club to match-going fans. And I have to say, I've not been impressed by the match-going fans. If anything, they've not been the 12th man for the team, in my opinion. Hopefully, this gesture here from the club will change them. I think we'll have legacy fans, and I'm somewhat, you can say, concerned about that. But that's, by the way, I hope that changes their attitude towards unmatched days to be vociferous, sing loud as possible, keep supporting the team no matter how badly they're playing. If that happens and it turns out the players are the sole purpose we've been losing games, then we will try to call the players out. But in my opinion, the match-going fans, they've been underperforming, in my opinion. And to see her saying the Russians and the hidden deals, not very hard to see that. Not very hard to see that. But I don't think it matters now. More than a decade has passed. Blue Coal will get another 10 million fine. I don't think I don't think it makes sense to fine them. Actually, it's just I don't think it makes sense in my opinion. But let's see what happens. Hypocritical. Ask them what they are doing with Brighton with the money. Yeah, exactly. It's always at Chelsea. The fans that go away are pretty hardcore fans. But maybe the home again. I still have issues with the match-going fans. But I'll be a bit lenient and not blame them that much. Bobby, that's JC in the house saying hello to you. How are you doing? Did you manage to catch up and sleep, bro? Yeah, it looks like Mitchie stretched them again. But Bobby is a very fit Chelsea, you can say pundit, or maybe let me say a panelist. I'm not too concerned. But Bobby, let's look at this. Yeah, this one, just quickly, let's get you into, bring you into the conversation immediately with this particular report saying that sources have told the Times that the transfer of the Brazilian midfielder Willian and the Cameroonian striker Eto'o from the Russian club Anzi in 2013 as part of the investigation after they were flagged up by the Chelsea present owners. To me, I don't think it makes sense to punish us for this. And the owners are very smart by being upfront with you said these issues. Let me just because yeah, Willian and Eto, plural in my opinion. But Bobby, let's hear you. It's a good thing that they're being upfront. What do you think happens if any sort of malpractice uh, is find out, or maybe let's hear you.
Well, I think they've had their reasons and they've had their field day punishing Chelsea enough. I don't think
Hmm.
Chelsea should get a punishment, but of course they're going to find a clause and punish them. It may not be a hefty punishment, but I don't think they should get a punishment at all because it wasn't this current ownership, and this current ownership has done the right thing. If you want to run a legitimate and transparent business or any legitimate and transparent entity, you perform
Hmm.
audits, not least to mention financial audits. And this is what they have done. And your audits will explain to you the reasons for any misdemeanors,
Hmm.
non-conformances, or so on. So, you have to, well, the audit doesn't explain it to you, it flags it up for you to give an explanation. And then you report your explanation to any external regulatory or observing body. This is just standard business and any other practice, any other legitimate practice. And they have done the right thing. Now, will you punish them as an entity using that old chestnut? Oh, it is Chelsea Football Club. It doesn't matter who the owners are, that they have benefited from it. Yes, it's a bit of a cop out, isn't it? Yet another reason to hurt the club. They're always good at finding clauses to hurt the club, but they're not so good at finding clauses to rectify times where they have vilified and and put the club at a huge disadvantage, not
Hmm.
least to mention the last set of sanctions, which hurt the club. The person that it was supposed to hurt is somewhere swimming willy-nilly doing his own thing, and the
Hmm.
club and the fans and the players and the businesses around the club were the people that were hurt. So I don't think they should hurt the club for this. I think they should applaud the club for good accounting, good accountability, and good auditing.
Because because the truth remains they could have just swept it under the rug and find a way to cover it up.
Well,
So I
the,
think
the truth
even
remains
Mhm.
they could have, but eventually, how these things are. There's always somebody trying to find trouble for Chelsea. Someone somewhere will start it off. So the auditing is a standard practice, coach. If you've ever run a business, one of the first things you do is audit. Audit your processes, audit your accounts, audit everything.
Mhm.
Any establishment needs to perform an audit. So they're performing well. I go with Simon Jordan, who was speaking about the club, saying that, look, he believes we're going to win the league in what, 2 to 3 years. I'd like to think that's true. I'd like to think it's sooner than that. I don't know. I like positives, but I will go with him in the fact that he's looking at the ownership as people that are sensible, intelligent, and are doing the right thing. And indeed, they are. They took over the very, very difficult period of time to take over any football club, unsupported period of time either. And they have done extraordinarily well. It hasn't started transpiring on the pitch yet, but I do believe it will.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. It looks like my internet is still acting up after paying so much money for the highest speed. It still looks like it's a fluctuating. It's not stable. Big up to you, to Kishan. Always nice to see you. I hope you've been well. Haven't seen you in a while. The board has not laid out the required standard. Everything is just logs. Wow. Let's see. Big up, coach. Big up to you, to True Blue Clay. Panel in chat up to Chelsea. Up to Chelsea. Indeed, I hope you're doing well. Smash the like button, people. So keep smashing the like button, and please, True Blue Clay, because you're not the moderator, you have to be careful. Don't use all caps, otherwise, the robot that's policing the chat will time you out at one point. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. It's all about the bill. Yep, it's all about the money. There will probably be another fine. Yep, they will seize that opportunity to fine Chelsea. But here's the thing. I think they should be lenient, and I think probably because the club, the owners, they're upfront. I think probably they're not going to find them that much money. But let's see what it is actually, because there's no clarity. Yeah.
Let me put it this way, right? You are a auditing inspector, right? Just for want of just make believe. You're an auditing inspector.
Mm-hmm.
I take over a business, and you're one of the governing bodies of the regulation for that business. And you say, okay, Bobby, in 2 years, I want to see your books, I want to see your reports, I want to see your business accounts. And I come to you in 6 months and I say, well, I've done accounts, I've done my audits, this is what I've found for the period of time with which I have taken over the business. These are my books. And I've seen some outliers, and I've traced them back to this period of time for this reason, which was before I took over the business, but it's still attached to the name of the business. What would you think of me? Be real. I mean, what would you think of me?
Yeah, I
You
think it
would
makes
think
sense.
I was doing a
Go ahead.
thorough, you would think I was thorough, I was transparent, and I was trying as much as possible to keep everything up, tidy, clean, and neat. Now, if within the boundaries of, say, fines or punishments for that
Mm-hmm.
particular misdemeanor, if you want to use that term, you would then surely be able to reason and think, well, this wasn't, Bobby's crime, but he's taken over the business and he doesn't want to tarnish his books. So, okay, the letter of the law says you should pay a 10 million fine. I'm going to talk to the other members of the board and see if
Mm-hmm.
this really needs to happen. Maybe in order to encourage other members of this of this business to be clean and accountable, we'll just
Mm-hmm.
fine him 2 million. I mean, I think that is more of a legitimate. This is a sport, mind, and if you want to use legacy punishments and bring that into the equation, then nobody will be playing football. Not Man City, who, by the way, still have not answered a single one of their 150 financial charges. I will always bring that up whenever people talk of financial issues because they've answered nothing. They've got you running around chasing your tail in court, and you find that acceptable. Whereas a club that has come forward, opened its books, gone through its books, pointed out errors that you've missed over the years, by the way. And
And
I
probably
mean,
will not have probably wouldn't be able to see it for a while. It would take
yeah,
somebody saying, hey, this is going on there. Go check it out. I think there's something suspicious happening there. Might or
exactly.
let me say something suspicious might have happened when this happened before they get to know anything about it. So the club being upfront should be, you can say, an advantage to us. But go
It
ahead,
should
Bobby,
be
if you were still speaking.
it should be applauded, coach. It
It
should be
should be, yeah, it should be
applauded.
applauded.
You
Yeah.
know,
So next time when somebody sees such, they'll be upfront about it and let you know,
it-
look, we found this. Because if you punish Chelsea unfairly, clubs, when they see such, they'll find a
oh,
way
they
to
hide it.
sweep it under the carpet. Yeah, and you're not gonna
Yeah,
know.
just like
Yeah.
City's doing with their charges. They've
Hmm.
seen the clause to play around in court. They've seen the media is very much not interested in punishing them.
Hmm.
They're just happy that a Manchester club is doing well, and they haven't really looked at this properly. So anybody else in the same situation will do the exact same thing, and rightly so. So I don't. Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and
Let's wait
see.
and see.
But
That's yeah. Let's wait and see first. And
yeah,
and the Bluetooth again. By the way, is saying I think the ownership of the club is irrelevant. We all know what this is. The power that be do not want us to be here. It seems like it, but I'm not going to go to the extent of saying I think certainly that's the case. And nothing would please them more than to see us go into the night quietly or into oblivion. But it's believable, but I'm not going to go to that extent
Yeah,
right now.
I believe
It's
that too,
entirely
sadly.
yeah, yeah, it's entirely up to what whether or not we do go quietly or fight them. I think they have owners who are very financially endowed, for lack of a better language, and it can fight them tooth and nail. They're not going to let go down quietly, and I don't think it will happen. If anything, it will become even more stronger. Do that quietly or fight them with every ounce of blood or yeah, up to Chelsea. A big up, coach. Big up to you too, brother. Much love to you. And Jay Z, big up to you. Much love to you too. It's that time of the year. He says, he's it's waffling. Go away. You know I don't like you, Mitchell boy, but much love to you, brother. Always nice to see you in the chat, even though you're busy. If you're watching the show, if you haven't, please take a second, go check out Mitchell Boy's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Let's help him get to 2,000 subscribers as soon as possible. He deserves that. And if you enjoy the shows here, 90% of the panelists you see on his channel are the same panelists you see here, and we'll all love each other. Please go check it out. Big up Bobby from Nature Boy. Let's see what else we have. Anything else to address? Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go a long way. I am okay, just saying hello tonight, but okay, enjoy it. Chelsea should buy Osimhen. It sounds easy. But I'm actually trying to make a video where I discuss 2 reasons why I think Chelsea should sign Osimhen and 2 reasons why I think they shouldn't sign him. But right now, I'm leaning towards us not signing him. I've taken my time to go look at his injury record. It's concerning, really, and they'll all change. And I'm going to start making the same argument I made before we signed Wesley Fofana. Even though I think he's still young and could overcome that. We shouldn't give up on him, but we don't want a situation where we'll sign a player and then the only hope we'll have with regards to that player being fit is that they're still young and they will overcome the reoccurring injury at some point. We don't want that right now. But I don't want to talk about what I will be presenting in that particular video. And when it comes out, you check it out. And the holy boy Wheezy, nice to see you. It looks like you are definitely a whiskey supporter. If you're just joining us, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. The timing of the announcement relating to Willian and Samuel Eto'o deal just before Tottenham game is funny. That reminds me reminding and rubbing the wound. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. More importantly, I'm not too concerned of the timing. That's because we were the one that told them, look, we found this. And we just want to let you know we found this. To me, I'm not too concerned. Coach, I don't want it, but what are your thoughts on Oli Watkins? I like him. I suggested us signing Oli Watkins last season, but was warned that he has a poor fitness record, that he hardly stays fit for a long while. I don't know, but I think he's an excellent finisher. I think at the moment he's a better finisher than Jackson, in my opinion. But people's concern comes down to his injuries. He's a player I like so much. He's a fine finisher. Let's see, Jackson is not a world-class player, and he's so young, very young, and will come good. But Jackson alone will not be enough. That's just my argument. I'm not saying we should give up on him. I'm not saying he's a bad player. My argument is just, Jackson alone will not be enough. But we're not talking about Jackson right now. And I'm going to try the best I can to stick to the topics we'll have lined up that way. I don't want you to wear me out and then say goodbye, coach. See you next time. Speaking of City, I think it's interesting that they have 115 charges looming and even a more, what's the term I'm looking for? A more grave, you could say, offense. I don't know if that'd be correct to say. They committed a more grave offense than us. And they didn't even say anything, and they were found out doing it. 115 charges looming over them, and yet they are as a club and team. Don't let this affect them their on-field performances. That's another way to see it.
Coach, if I can add to that, what is
Yeah, go ahead.
astonishing to me, Of course, they won't let it affect them because they know that nobody's interested in making it affect them. They
Mhm.
have no suspensions, no restrictions in any way, shape, or form. It's quite unusual, to say the least, that somebody would be charged. We're not talking of accused.
Mhm.
They are charged of these offenses, and they have been allowed to hold up a charge with no suspension, no penalty, no kind of recourse to answer your actions.
Not even a slap on the wrist.
It's disgusting in my
It is
view. I that's
indeed.
why I keep talking about it, because I cannot understand. At the very least, the recourse or the suspensions would be to push them to answer their charges
Mhm.
rather than encourage them to tie it up in court. So, I mean, really. And now they talk about Chelsea. Honestly, we shouldn't even have any fine. Shouldn't even be answering to this, because this, so far as this exists, it will always be a point of reference in any of these situations in the Premier League.
Yeah. Just quickly here, Julian. Again, I'm gonna catch up with these things I have right now, and some of it you could say as mark of respect for the OGs here. But I want the topics aligned. I don't want to exhaust myself, and then we'll end up not having time enough to address the items we have lined up. Julian Alvarez will best fit the pot system, but it's highly unlikely to become a reality. I've said that 1,000 times, and it looks like he's playing more and more right now. Palmer is our best finisher right now. No, you can say he's got 2 penalties for us, but I wouldn't say he's our best finisher right now. But we'll find out in due time. The only thing I'll go for is that he's the most intelligent player we'll have within our ranks right now. An excellent player. The striker market is a thing. January window makes it worse to get a proper players at a decent price. I don't know how we'll solve the striker situation. If we're serious about getting to where we want to be at the end of the season, most likely we'll spend in the general transfer window for a striker. Whether we'll be willing to pay premium, I don't know. Chelsea really needs these weeds because yeah, we get to talk about Florian Wirtz in a bit, and that's Akintola Desmond. My Niger bro, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Nicholas is a supporting striker. I think he makes sense. That's a better way to describe him. We also need a free kick specialist. I don't know if we have one within our ranks. Bobby is right. A City were literally allowed to win a three-peat treble while yeah, still again while the investigation is done actually while facing charges. Let me just put it that way. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Ballers, but give me more ballers. Let's see what the club does. Let Pochettino use this new signed goalkeeper, Petrovic. I think he gets his chance most likely against. I'm not too sure. Maybe against Blackburn. Let me just put it that way to be safe. Let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Anything else? So let's move on to the next item we have lined up here, people. Give me 1 second here. Let's go for it. Let's go. Okay. Let's talk about this. It's a Chelsea thing to let a player go, but I'm not going to say I don't blame them. I think Guehi wanted to leave, and at the time he didn't have much left on his contract, and so here is Vince is saying Chelsea's top 5 centre back targets according to Team Talk. And why are we looking at centre backs? Because Trevor Chalobah most likely will leave in January. We've been told, and we've been told severally by the manager that he's not frozen out. But I'm suspecting that may well be the case. That will only welcome him into the fold if things becomes worse. But I'm not going to go into that. I'm not into conspiracy theories. So one is Usman Diamonde, Sporting Lisbon, Marc Guehi, Crystal Palace, Antonio Silva, Benfica, Laney Euro, Lille, Edmond Tapsoba, Leverkusen. Edmond Tapsoba, we've been told probably from what we've heard is the top target of this players listed here. So let's hear you of all these centre backs you're seeing on the screen or the names listed. Which of them do you think the club should go for. Let's hear you if you're in the chat there. So, Bobby, let's hear you. Marc Guehi, I know you know him quite well. Do you think we should go for him or go for another centre back? And of these players listed, Bobby, if you're there, let's hear you. Do you think the club should look to bring back a Marc Guehi, or do you think we should go for another centre back? Given the list we have on the screen there, let's hear you if you're there.
Yeah, the centre back rumor is quite
Are you there,
interesting.
Bobby? I cannot hear you. Looks like
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right, Bobby will go out and come back in. Let's see. When we get to Wiz, we'll talk about Wiz. Right now, we're talking about centre backs. Let's see this one here. Just give me 1 second. Isn't Wiz a 10? He's a 10. If so, if so, we're already having Kunku. Kunku isn't a 10. I wouldn't count Kunku
Can you
as a
hear me
10.
now, Coach?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bobby. Speak. Would you
Oh,
like the club to bring back Marc Guehi?
yeah. I mean, the centre back situation is it's interesting and it's not going away. So I think there's a lot of smoke, fire behind this smoke. Let's put it this way. Guehi, he's been rumored with us a long time. I haven't yet understood it because he's a regular and priority at Crystal Palace.
Mhm.
Who's he going to knock off their perch here at Chelsea? I guess he stands a good chance. I mean, he can squeeze his way in. I guess what it tells me is that one, Chalobah's going. Two, I'm not sure they have that much faith in Fofana as well. I'm not sure that they're really looking at Fofana coming back or being established in the team. So they want to heat up the competition in the defensive areas. Guehi, yes, if he's happy to come, but I don't think he'll come cheap. Tapsoba is an interesting one. Um, I can't pretend to know that much about him, but he has a good reputation, and the little I've seen of him, he seems quite solid and good in the
And
air
very
and physical.
intelligent too.
Yeah, as I said, the little I've seen of him, I can't pretend to have watched him that much. But if you say he's intelligent, I have no reason to doubt it. I don't know who the others you have there, but centre backs, that's going to be an interesting one. I thought we were done in that area, but clearly not. I mean, it is clear that Thiago Silva will certainly stop playing at the end of the season for
Mhm.
Chelsea. So that's another defensive centre back situation. Yeah, we do need a right-sided centre back because at the moment we are a bit lopsided, aren't we? Desassi is about the only one on the right in terms of a centre back. Then we've got um, uh, Badiashile and Colwill. This is not counting Thiago Silva because I'm looking beyond him. So yeah,
Mhm.
it makes sense that we are looking at a centre back. Whether we'll do that in January is going to be left to be seen.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking to more aligned comments here out of respect. DJ is celebrating that we're not going to be playing low block teams in the next 5 games. Yeah, it makes sense. And Coach Money talks. Yeah, it does quite a lot. And I'm with you on that one. Kachila, it may be cheaper for Bali to buy those clubs rather than their players. Okay, let's see anybody who has anything aligned with what we're talking about right now. And True Blue Clay does. He says next season we will have Cowell and Badia Chile on the left, Fofana and Desasi on the right. With our injury record, it makes a sense to have a fifth centre back. I think I agree with you because Thiago Silva, like Bobby has mentioned already, this will most definitely be his last season with us. And he said something to that effect that reflects the fact that this will be this last season for Chelsea Football Club. Chalobah leaving in January, and Fofana won't be back for a while, and we're not sure. We're not sure whether he's going to come. And we're not sure whether he's going to come back the same. But that's by the way, we move on. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, and let's try as much as we can to keep the topics aligned. In my opinion, this news are not true. This is 5 players, maybe some of them on the radar, but not believe it. No, they're suggesting this is just a list, and Chelsea will sign one of them. This is not saying that Chelsea will sign all these players here. That's not how are we going to sign 5 more defenders. No, it just doesn't make sense. Yep, just this is very correct, Eugene. The rumors are that Fofana is being considered on the way out. Fofana not considered again. I don't think we'll sell Fofana anytime soon. I think we're stuck with them. Also, Silva retiring and Chalobah sold. Yep, those 2 more importantly. But Fofana, we're not too sure whether he comes back the same. And DJ saying Chelsea could be deducted points by the Premier League. It comes after the self-reported alleged secret payment related to the transfers of William and Samuel Eto'o. If this leads to point deduction, then indeed they want us to be relegated to the 7th division, in my opinion. But I'm not going to waste. But I'm not too concerned about that. It just means they hate the club. They don't care who owns the club. They just want Chelsea to suffer. We also have Humphreys, who will be back from loan next season. It depends on how soon we want defensive reinforcement. If we want him as soon as before the season ends, then yeah, we may well assign at least one. So it makes sense. Miro already is starting the Chelsea hate. I don't think point deduction happens. We should sell Fofana, Chalobah, and Colwell, in my opinion. Let me make this clear to you. Selling Fofana is not going to be easy. And I don't think the club will give up on him right now. They paid that much money because they believe he will succeed at Chelsea, but probably didn't pay much attention to his injury record at the time. But I think they will do whatever they can to help him succeed at Chelsea. Castillo Lukerba or Mohamed Semakan from Leipzig. Those are the I don't know those 2 players, honestly, and I can't pretend I do when I don't really. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. Chelsea will win the Premier League, in the next 2-3 years, according to Simon Jordan and Jersey. Okay, congratulations. Let's see that happen. That's nothing new, and the club recognizes that. Kishan, nice to see you once more. He says, Coach, we need a striker. I think we agree. I think the club agrees, and we've been told by Fabrizio Romano that one of Chelsea's priority in the January transfer window will be to sign a striker, and I hope that happens as soon as possible to mix things up, or even sign or more. Even if we're going for another hybrid number 9, we should go for one a proven hybrid number 9 that can help us score more goals. I'm now one of those you can say pushing the notion or narrative that we need a traditional number 9 to help us put away all the chances we're creating, which simply means whenever we get to the final third, we'll be channeling all our goal scoring opportunities through a single individual. And if that person is well marked in the game, then we're done. But that's by the way, we move on. Chelsea are reportedly leading the race to sign Ivan Toney amid claims that Arsenal and Tottenham are unwilling to match Brentford's asking price. And if we're saying that the asking price is how much? 60 million pounds. For me, that's a bit too much in my opinion. And I wouldn't pay that much money if it were up to me. But that's by the way, let's move on. AD, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join us. Let's move on to the next item. Right, this is saying Victor Osimhen is currently Chelsea's top target for the striker position. Unclear if he's attainable in January. You would have to think not. Toney is liked by some above. Okay, Luis Openda, Watkins, Jimenez being mentioned. I like Jimenez, honestly. Jimenez, in my opinion, he seemed to me, he appears to me, it seems like the more complete of the strikers that we're being linked with right now. But Osimhen, I have questions. His injury record, how much would end up paying for him, given that still has about 2 years left on his contract, and we know the Laurentiis is the most difficult club owners to deal with, and he's already said indirectly told us, look, if you want him, you'd have to pay premium to get him. That particular report, I remember, were addressed on the show here, which says something to the effect of De Laurentiis saying that they have an offer, a new contract offer on the table for Victor Osimhen, and that if he refuses to put pen to paper for a new long-term contract, that they're fine for it. They're not going to worry too much. They will sell him. And he went on to say, remember, Koulibaly had just about a year left on his contract before they sold him to Chelsea, and you know how much he was sold. So that's him saying, yeah, if Victor doesn't sign a new contract, we're willing to sell him, but we're not going to sell him for cheap. And I don't think Chelsea will be paying premium for Osimhen for multitude of reasons. One, his injury record. Two, the fact that we'll sign him and then he will still travel for AFCON and we'll miss him for a month. And I'm saying, yeah, I get it. It's something that has happened at Chelsea before when we had the likes of Solomon Kalou, Didier Drogba, Jean-Michel Lobby, Michael Essien, and they all at one point left for AFCON, and we still did well in their absence. But the truth is, we don't have a squad. We don't have a squad that's as strong as the squad we had at the time. So if we're thinking, signing Osimhen and letting him live for AFCON and Jackson leaving for AFCON again in January, it just doesn't make sense. I think the club will consider that. I don't think they would just go for them, pay that much money, and then watch him live for AFCON every time. Every time the competition comes around, in my opinion. But Eddie, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes will go a long way. Nicholas Jackson need a loan, Breuer to start. I don't think Jackson needs a loan. I think he stays, but I'm still saying Jackson alone will not be enough. We need another striker. And I in my opinion, as much as I like Victor Osimhen, I don't want him to be the guy. Ballers in midfield necessary. Yep. Yesterday, City cooking to Manchester United, breaches in the midfield. Let's hear you there. Jude, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join us on the panel this afternoon, probably 3 p.m. Your time now. But welcome back to the panel once again, Jude. Let's hear you. What do you make of this news? Or if you want to talk about the other items you've heard us address, that's fine. But let's hear you if you're there, Jude. Right, it doesn't look like he's ready to speak right now. Maybe struggling to unmute his device. But Bobby, let's hear you. The news linking us to Osimhen. It's not going. It doesn't look like it's going away. If anything, it's garnering pace, in my opinion. But let's hear you, Bobby. What do you think?
Like you, I'm not sure about this Osimhen thing. Less so about his injury record, more so about the fact that he's not yet Premier League proven, and the price. I think it's going to cost a whole load of money in purchase and wages, and I don't think for a somewhat unproven quality. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. I like him as a striker, but is he the answer for us? The Premier League is a very, very different kettle of fish. It really is. And you have to be a certain type of player, certainly as a striker, to be able to ply your trade in it. And if you're not used to it, it becomes a problem, as we have seen often at Chelsea with our striker purchases. So I don't know. At the moment, my mind would rather we go for Toney. The problem is that Toney is not a long-term fix per se because of his age. Though he doesn't have as much as of an injury record, but Toney does have a condition which, when I think about it, it kind of gives me goosebumps. But he seems to be okay with it. But he has quite a serious condition with his spine.
Hmm.
Now,
Okay, go
sorry,
ahead.
I just needed to drink water. Now, he had said that he's a bit of a walking miracle because he was told that he would probably not play football some years ago and that he would probably be either bedridden or in a wheelchair. I think before he's 25 or so. We'll have to watch his interview again where he mentioned this, but he's managed to do to overcome that. Now, I'm somebody that believes very much in the power of your confessions, so I'm not going to speak much more on it. I'm not going to put any negatives on him, but I'm sure you can tell where my mind is going with this one, especially with him coming to Chelsea. So that is the one thing about Toney that concerns me. One, his age. Two, the fact that there is that condition that although he's never suffered from it, but it's still there lurking. It's the elephant in the room, basically. And three is a gambling issue. So is that enough? Probably to some people it would be enough to put you off, but I don't know. I don't. Everything comes with its disadvantages, isn't it? Osimhen, you're going to pay through your nose and gamble as to whether he will perform in the Premier League, and then Toney, you start wondering if at his age he's left his best behind him before his suspension, and what we'll be getting is the downward spiral. That's the thing. Unless we go for this other guy, you're talking about Jimenez. Well, maybe I don't know that much about him, but that's why we have sporting directors, and that's why Pochettino is going to be part of the process because these are the experts on the ground and they have to make the right choice for Chelsea. And honestly, at this point, so far as it's amongst the few named marquees, I don't think we can argue with any of them that they choose.
Yeah, I just want to say this to Keyshawn. His price tag is the least of my concerns. I think he's an excellent player. Um, I'm not too concerned about that. But here's the thing: let's look at his injury record. It's concerning, really. He's an excellent finisher anytime, any day. And I've started again. My initial concern was whether he fits the way I know Mauricio Pochettino likes to approach the game. But I've come to terms. He's still young and can add to his game. He's still maturing as a player, no matter how you see it. So I'm the concern, yeah, we will overpay. And that's especially true if we're looking to sign you can say a proven striker in the January transfer window. We're well overpay. Pay. It's as simple as that. Toney Toney will probably overpay too. We're hearing 60 million pounds, and that's a lot of money for 20. How old is he again? 27. That's a lot of money, and there's no way to tell whether he comes back the same. Because in my opinion, yeah, long-term suspension is no different from long-term injury, in my opinion, because there's a mental suffering involved in that. For him to have been banned, for him to have been caught in the first place and be banned, punished for it, overpaid to get him away from Arsenal. Yeah, that's the correct way. Jackson could be helped a lot by someone like Toney, and that could be a good succession plan too. And I am not sure if we can get Toney over Arsenal. And Arsenal, are they really serious about getting him? We don't know. At this point, everything is just rumors. Big up panel, big up Michi. And let's say there's no one a Premier League proven attacker we can go for unless we get a Julian Alvarez. But Julian Alvarez is no
Sorry to
different. Just
cut.
quickly,
Yeah.
Bobby. Julian Alvarez is no different from the players we have. He doesn't differ that much from Jackson, except maybe a better finisher. Doesn't differ that much from Nkunku. Doesn't differ that much from what's his name, Amanda Brand, my opinion. But go ahead, Bobby. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, let me just reiterate this thing about Tony and Arsenal before come January we get Tony and people start pushing some narratives that we've gone and gazumped Arsenal again.
Mhm.
Ivan Tony in his interview never, and I repeat, never said he had any particular links, any particular arrangement, any particular preference more likely for Arsenal Football Club. He never said that. He just said, one, he was a Liverpool fan, was. Two, he likes the way Arsenal play. And three, he's always favourable to any club that shows seriousness about getting him. I repeat, any club that shows seriousness about getting him. And he gave some examples. So all of a sudden, all of you, he's going to Arsenal. I don't know where that's coming from. People get things in their head and they run with it as if they're in the know. He never said that. Not even Arsenal has come out and said that. There was more association with Modric and Arsenal than there ever is with Toney and Arsenal. So we need to shoot this down because this is absolute BS. Sorry.
No problem. Anybody else want to add to that before we start looking at Victor Osimhen's injury record? We don't have too much time, so let's be as brief as possible. Jerry, do you have anything to add to anything you've heard us talk about quickly before I move on to Jude, who had an issue and had to log out, and come back in? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Yeah, great to see you too, brother. I hope you're doing well.
Nice to see you. Yeah, I've recovered from the loss from the
Big up,
weekend. Looking
Jay-Z.
forward now. Yes, for this one, of course, like what I know right now, as with the last game and everything that has transpired, and the lack of ability of Jackson and other players of not finishing, as more and more this is becoming a trend, I think we'll definitely go with the striker, and of course with all the reports, with the credible reports as well. So it's highly likely. Before, in my previous analysis, I was always like 50-50, because I'll say, let's see how we do, how Nico do, Broya, but it doesn't seem like, it's a tall order to climb in 2 months to set the world on fire, with scoring goals. Of course, we'll be playing well, we'll improve, but I think it will only make sense that we'll go with the striker. And to conclude this conversation for now, I'll say that I'm with Bobby on this one. I was also thinking, I think right now it doesn't matter if we go for Osimhen or Toney, as long as it's a credible, proven striker. I don't. There's this talk that Osimhen is not Premier League proven. I mean, proven in the sense that a striker has done well in top leagues for the nation, in Champions League, etc. Not like a very new talent like Nico Jackson, etc. I'm very content, because it will be a massive upgrade on the forwards that we have.
Yep, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. There's no other Premier League proven attacker. Yep, Watkins is an excellent finisher in my opinion. I like him, but people's concerns has always been his injury record. Let's see what else we have here. Arsenal are serious for a striker. They had links to Santi Jimenez. Okay, but are they that serious about him? Toney is open to any club seriousness. In other words, most salary. Yeah, all about money, like you always stay constant in that. Appreciate that. Big up Kachula in the Bobby. I think only Watkins is a good shout, but I would prefer Toney over Watkins. Max, you have to elaborate. Why can let us know why you would prefer Toney over Watkins? To me, I like Watkins. I even like him more than Toney. But people's concerns have always been his injury record. But Max, nice to see you once more again. If you're watching, if you're not subscribed to Max Button's YouTube channel, you don't know what you're missing. And believe me, go give it a shot and come back. You will thank me later. Big up Bobby. I always thought he was leaning towards Arsenal. If it's a level playing field, I am confident we get him. We get the player, but let's see. Jimenez will be a solid purchase, but not the game changer we need. Yeah, but he's a fine finisher, an intelligent finisher, and we could say the most well-rounded compared to all the strikers we've been linked with, in my opinion, and that's why I like him. And that takes away my concern of losing players every time AFCON comes around. Even though I'm an African, like born and bred in Nigeria, and I like Osimhen so much, in my opinion. I've moved beyond my concern of whether he's the type of striker that Pochettino would like to work with to his injury record plus that issue at this point, we don't have a squad as strong as a squad we had at the time when we'd lose the likes of Michael Essien, Mikel Obi, Solomon Kalou, and Didier Drogba, and still win the league at the end of the season. We're not that's that strong. Lose one player, we're in trouble. That's where we're at. Right now. We don't have the luxury to lose players during AFCONs, in my opinion. But just quickly, I'll come back to you. How old is Jimenez? I think, let me check again. I don't remember. Give me a second.
He's 22.
Is it 22?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. 22 years old. To me, he's an excellent finisher. The more complete of the players we've been linked with. Coach, I think Toney is more clinical in front of goal compared to Watkins. Okay. Watkins good on pens too. Okay, if that's the case. Let's see 22. Let's see what Abra says here. I like Ivan Toney's elite mentality, and I think this would rub off on the younger players. So more of an you're seeking for more of an experienced player. Okay. Constantine Dante or DJ, thanking you for that. Let's hear you, Jude. Hopefully you're not here to fight for Osimhen as a Niger bro, but let's hear you. What do you make of us being linked with Osimhen, and do you want me to look at his injury numbers before you talk about him? You let me know.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon, everyone.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Big up, brother. It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear.
Okay. Yeah. Regarding Osimhen's injury record, I think it's not, for me, I would say it's not the worst. It's not the worst to look at. We've signed players with worse injury record. Among them is Fofana, and we still gamble on them. So, but when it comes to other factors like the AFCON you talked about, it's two ways. First of all, if we are going by Toney, we are not really guaranteed that this guy is going to come back and fire on all cylinders at start. Maybe it might take him time.
And that was why I said I don't see any. Let's be honest here. He got suspended. He got caught. 1, 2. He got suspended. There's mental suffering involved in dealing with that situation. Except if he's so addicted to gambling that to him it's not a problem. That's no different from a player being out long time, and there's no guarantee they come back the same.
Exactly.
For instance, in the case of Motu, who was suspended for doing drugs at the time, he didn't come back the same, in my opinion. But you go ahead.
Okay. So when we look at the fact that it's not guaranteed that Ivan Toney will come back the same, Osimhen, well, is still active. His injury record is not the worst, like I said. And I just think a player like Osimhen will do well in anything because I see him like somebody who is quite flexible. But then when we now look at the AFCON thing you talk about, a whole month is not a joke, because I wish Jackson and other people were scoring the goals. Then we'll be like, okay, well, if it's possible for us to be sure that we could win a match, then we could risk it. But right now, we are not even at that situation where we can actually bank on, Jackson's not going to be around too, so that makes it worse. Well, but even if he was around, we can't really bank on him to fill in the gap. Broha is still yet to get his form. So both of them are dicey to me. But in addition to what Bobby said, that he never said he's an Arsenal. He never said he was going to Arsenal.
He prefers going to Arsenal.
Yeah, I watched that podcast again, and Bobby is very accurate with his analysis. Because I too used to think that he prefers Arsenal, but he only reiterated the fact that he's a Liverpool fan and he'd love to watch Arsenal play. So if a player said he's open to any serious team, that means he's willing to go anywhere. And they've been reporting that Chelsea had been in talk with him before the suspension came. So if he's able to overcome it, but I think it's very dicey, both of them. But I also want to reaffirm the fact that Osimhen's injury record is not the worst.
Yeah, we'll look at it. I don't know you. So you've decided to be his lawyer. You're in trouble here, Jude. Go ahead, Jude. I'm listening.
Okay, so then players like Watkins.
Is it just
Anthony.
me, or can you guys still hear him?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I can
want to.
hear you.
I would want to gamble Evan Toney than signing Watkins, because Ivan Toney is he's a guy that he really knows what it takes to score goals. And then, though I didn't like the fact that he had no respect for his team, Brentford. He always there are times he had talked down on them secretly, that he came out like he plays for one small team like that. So it means he's really, he knows his worth. He knows he knows that he deserves better than Brentford, and he just felt, okay, maybe it's just a platform for him to showcase himself. And I said, until that suspension, he was really on top of his game. So I think I would take Ivan Toney instead of Watkins.
All right.
For me to look
Uh,
at Watkins,
yeah.
I might have to look abroad. That's look outside England.
All right, and this is saying, thank you, Coach. I have to beautify myself on YouTube and give them my bank details. I don't like this. Go away, my friend. Jokes aside, much love to you, Michi. I cannot thank you enough for all the support, the monetary support. You being here, even though when you are at work, you reach out, say, "Look, I'm watching. I'm here, but I'm watching," and come onto the panel whenever you can. I cannot thank you enough for that. That just go a long way for the channel. So thank you so much. Yeah, I don't like the hissy out. I don't like you either. But that's, by the way, if you're paying attention, hist is spelled intentionally that way. That's host. That is because I was on this show at one time and spelled. Wanted to say I don't like the host and I called it hist. And no, I said the hist is waffling instead of the host is waffling. So he hasn't let it go ever since. But much love to you, Michi. I appreciate you finding the time to join, and thank you again for the donation. For saying, he says, and this says, we probably should have gotten Aya Wahi. I think there were issues. Wahi wants to come straight into the Chelsea team. He didn't like the fact that we wanted to sign him and send him out on loan to Strasbourg. So that didn't make sense to him, and he dodged it. Fernando Torres was injured when we signed him, the same with Apato. And I know, even if he didn't say that, Max was going to say that. Every time I come up with an argument, when I talk about Premier League proven not being a guarantee, Max will always bring up that. But here's the thing. I think the truth remains, let's be honest. If you sign a player who's played in the Premier League and also scored lots of goals in the Premier League, it reduces the risk involved in signing a player who hasn't played in the Premier League, because the pace of the league differs from that of other leagues. But the truth remains, it's not a guarantee that the player succeeds. It just reduces the risk. And I'm sure I'm going to see something from Constantine Dante very soon. Bring the Wooly back. Roger Wooly isn't coming back. And Roger isn't on the panel right now. Let's see what else we have here. And I don't want the Woolly Mammoth back. I have PTSD when it comes to getting the hottest names on the block for a truckload of money, only for them to flop. And you could argue big name signings of late have not worked out for us that well, especially strikers. Thank goodness Enzo is showing that he's producing a result. Mudryk is showing good form. But once it comes to strikers, they haven't really worked for us of late. You guys are Premier League proven one season Toney, who plays at a small club. So changing to Chelsea may well be an issue for him. So it's a good argument there. I like that one way, and will be 28. So I don't think we'll pay that much money for him, in my opinion. And let me hear you talk about the age limit for the new ownership, or a world-class striker, bigger world-class striker, a bigger club, title winner, Euro experience, internationals at 24, but no Premier League experience. It depends on how good the other player is. I'd rather we go for a younger player. But I have my issues with us. Again, the club's interest in Osimhen. If you've been listening to me, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'd rather we go for Santiago Jimenez. More complete of all the players we've been linked with. There's also talk that Lukaku from Roma, in terms of skill set, in my opinion, that is just my opinion. Pay attention. Look, Tammy Abraham is no different from from Romelu Lukaku. That is just my opinion, honestly. But if you think Tammy would do well under Mauricio Pochettino, if the club thinks so, let's go for him. Then it only comes down to the money. But if we have it, do we care? I don't think. Here's the thing. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I used to argue how much I think the owners would be willing to pay for a player. I think I've learned the hard way, that if they want a player, they don't care how much the player costs, as much as they've looked at their numbers thing and come to a conclusion that that's the player they want. I'm not going to argue against them willing to pay 100 million for Osimhen, but my argument is that they will look at his injury record. They'll look at the fact that he lives for AFCON. We don't have the luxury right now to let players live for AFCON. One player missing could do a lot of damage to our current squad. But look at how much the argument has always been, if we have Nkunku available, we'd be doing much better. Luis James gets injured, we're finished. So we don't want a situation where we sign Osimhen and then January, AFCON comes around, boom, he's on international duty and Jackson will be on international duty too. So that's a serious issue for me, and I don't think the club will overlook that, given the fact that, we're not as strong as we were at the time when we had about 6, you could say, AFCON-worthy players who, were representing their countries actively at the time, and we lose them and still win the league. We're not as strong as we were at the time right now. Osimhen is the man. 103 goals in 201 appearances and in 3 of the top leagues. I know all those things, but that's besides my argument. Then add Watkins and Wirtz. Then we'll be cooking. I like Florian Wirtz. Let's see. Keep dropping likes on the stream, people. Also, Osimhen plays in the front 3. I know that. Yep, and he's versatile in terms of if he changes the structure. As long as here's the thing, he does better when you play him as a traditional number 9. And chances that if he comes to Chelsea, if we don't play him as a traditional number 9, where we get to channel, you can say, majority of our goal scoring chances through him, and he's not scoring as much as he scored at Napoli and in France, he gets frustrated. Chances that happens, and the fans will turn against him, forgetting that everything comes down to the manager's approach and not Osimhen's fault. I guess they would start Broya and Palmer. Those games, maybe we'll find out. And this is saying, big up everyone, big up to you. The Prince is here. To me, Poch is a problem of this team. Even if we sign both Toney and Osimhen, they still flop. It seems that the coach lacks ideology and poor tactics every time. Wow. Some comment right there.
Sorry, coach.
There. I'd rather know I have him and let him go. Just 1 second. He won't be gone for months. And this one here is saying, sounds good, Vic. Okay, let's hear you. What were you saying, Jude?
Oh, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, that person who wrote a comment that Pochettino does not have ideology or whatever. It's the person is just amplifying what Arsene Wenger said about Chelsea recently, that we don't look like a team that have a plan or like know what we are doing. So, and if you want to, that statement to me is directly pointing at the coach and the owners. So, like he's saying, Chelsea doesn't look like they know what they are doing in one of their studio whatever after a match. So it was just a comment. So for now, we might be seeing some little bit of progress, but somehow I think Pochettino needs to really still show that he knows what he's doing, because you can't be going forward and then you try some kind of things like some formations, like using a Disasi at the right back. There's a limit to testing you can do when you know it can cost you something. Even if you don't want to play Gusto on that position, you've tried Cucurella and he's been doing well. So, you've tried Cucurella and he's been doing well. So I think it would have been better to have
either do it better by putting the Sassi in the middle and pushing Colwill to the left, whichever way. So and he didn't even like try to switch it over on time, even when it looks like it's not really working. So and then on the issue of Osimhen again, finally, I just want to highlight the fact that this guy has more exposure than both Watkins and Toney. As in he's been on.
Here's the question I want to ask you. And just quickly, everybody, just listen. Jude, Oladipo Masole is Osimhen's lawyer. So let the community know that. Are you not concerned of his injury record? Is that not a concern to you? I know you've agreed.
So can I analyze his injury record if you allow me?
Yeah, just let him drop. Let him drop. And are you not concerned of his injury record? And I know you've agreed the fact that he's gonna leave. That he's gonna for him to leave again, losing him to AFCON is a problem too. But let's hear you. Are you not concerned given his injury record?
AFCON is the only problem I see here because his injury record is not the worst, like I said. And then I also like the fact that he has exposure, because when we talk about Chelsea, we are talking about a team that is big on the world stage and have lost its step, and we are trying to get back there. So having a player that has been on the big world stage, because it's not easy playing a Champions League final, it's not easy being a Golden Boot winner in an Italian league. So so we signing somebody that we think he's very good in England, but doesn't have that exposure. Because by the time we get to big games, those exposure counts. It's part of confidence. So that's where I don't really agree with Watkins unless we don't have an option. If we don't have an option, it's fine. But I can't see an Osimhen and want to take a Watkins ahead of him because of that exposure. Because we need things like that. That is the level Chelsea was before, when we had players that had confidence, players that they have been on big world stage even before they came to Chelsea, and then we were winning things really. So I think we need to build something like that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Go ahead, Jerry. See, you wanted to say something.
Yes, sir. Bobby, if you want to go continue, please go ahead. I'll
go ahead, Bobby. Bobby will come in when you're done.
Go on, Jay-Z. It's good. It's good.
Thank you. Coach, so I was looking at this injury record, and as an analyst, I was trying to figure out if I can see a pattern. So right now, to me, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a concern because we have to see what kind of injuries. As an analyst, I have 3 questions in my mind, which I made. What kind of injury, right? Is this injury has to do with his own physicality, fitness, regime, or something that can happen to anyone? 1. Number 2, the injuries should be at least 3, has led him to be away from the game at least 3 weeks, a month and more, not a week, 5, 10 days, right? And number 3 is, of course, we have to see again, like, what kind of injury it is and what is the pattern. So I have established a pattern. Let me wear my reading glasses for a second. Yeah. So if you see the common injuries that he had were shoulders injuries that appeared in his earlier phase of the career. And the last time it happened and he recovered was 15th of January 2021. That means in 3 months it will be almost 3 years. So this reoccurring injury was last he got recovered when he last had this injury 2 years 9 months from now. So that means that it has taken a long time, and he has he has continued without getting this injury. Right. And then most of the other injuries, if we can see in the later stages, right, that he suffered that made him stay away for a longer time, is the broken cheekbone injury. That has nothing to do with the training and the fitness. It can happen to absolutely anyone, anytime, with the physical impact, right? Because we don't have the information. It's an impact either in training, I believe, or during the game. So cheekbone injury is nothing that will make you get concerned of any player, right? And the biggest injury that he had is the meniscus injury. I don't know if I pronounce it well. Has to do with the knee, with a certain C joint in the knee. And he remained out of the game for the most amount of time, that is almost 6 months, 178 days. And it was in 2016. So all the injuries, as an analyst, when I saw this chart, are way back, right? The biggest one, 2016, 7 years from now. Shoulder injuries that happened a lot of time reoccurring, almost 3 years from now. And so on rest of the injuries, 7, 11 days, 15 days, 18 days, that is absolutely normal, right? So the way I looked at the data, I don't really see this a concern at all, the way
Okay, let me
I
ask you
analyze.
this, Z. Let's look at 2022. Let's start from 2022. Forget about 17, 18, 21. Let's start from 22. In 22, he had how many injuries in 22? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? In 2022, calf strain, broken cheekbone. That one you don't really blame somebody for
Yeah,
that, but
yes,
still,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So broken cheekbone, let's just count it. A coronavirus, you don't count that.
Yep. Two
Muscular
days,
problems.
2 days, two
Yeah,
days.
I'm coming 2 days, but in total, forget about coronavirus. 2 days, a 54 broken cheek. Forget about that.
Hamstring injury,
So
the only one that
9 days.
he had.
You could say 9 days in. That's like at most 9 days in total if we're removing broken cheekbone and coronavirus,
Right,
right? Then
right.
in 2023, he had a hamstring injury.
That is the only one he
Abductor,
had. That is a concern, you can say, if it is a
yeah.
concern.
I'm
Yeah.
coming. Abductor injury. That's how many days? 18 days, 32 days
Mhm.
for the muscle injury, and then muscle fatigue, 5 days. Hamstring injury. Just that's 23, 24. So
Yes.
honestly, that's still a lot, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. It is, sir. But again, we have to see the one I analyzed that have recurring. That is like, let's say, three-fourth of the injuries on the list happened at least 3 years ago, right? So that is one point, of course. The other point is you took into very good, very good that you took the variables and the injuries in the current season, and most of them, half of them at least, like coronavirus and the cheekbone injuries that can happen to anyone anytime, right? With the physical impact. So the only injury that happened twice that is of concern, that is a footballing injury, had to do with the fitness, is a hamstring muscle injury that happened twice. 32 plus 17 is 49 days. It's like almost 7 weeks. 7 weeks. So yes, but I won't still say it's a concern, because this type of injury happened to him for the first time, at least what it is in the chart, right? Will it be a recurring theme? I don't know. But this is the first time he experienced this injury in his career. So still,
And it
I
looks like
want,
just quickly, it looks like the shoulder injury is reoccurring.
sir. So as I analyze, the shoulder injury last time is a recurring. As I already said, it's a recurring injury, and it kept him out of game for a longer period of time, because I was taking into consideration an analyst the injury that has taken him out of the game for a longer time. So shoulder injury, I already said, is a recurring theme. But the last time he suffered a shoulder injury and came back from fit from out of it was 15th January 2021. That means it's almost 3 years that he didn't suffer this injury again. So that's why it's not something that will be concerning to me as an analyst.
Hmm. Okay, let's see. For me, I would say it's a concern, but maybe I have to look at it again. But if you reduce this, if you remove like coronavirus and the other one broken, anything broken, you can't say that somebody's injury prone because of that. If our wingers can consistently score like Hazard and William did, pressure will be less on our striker. Look how good Diego Costa was with Hazard. That's the truth. You don't hope on the strikers alone to score a goal. Coach, it's a problem as well. Yes, for now. Yeah, I think you can say that too. The team need a stability. That's why I put blame on Poch. Okay. Let's see. I don't blame the coach for our problem really. The fact that Chelsea cannot score consistently is the problem. Every coach had after TT big mistakes. Chelsea made by the way. Let's see. Nobody argues against that. Coaching staff is most important in every young team. Yeah, I think we argued that quite a lot underground, but then I think we should use the same energy now. Young players need a lot of coaching. For last 2 years, he was injured for 30 to 50 days per season. This season so far, 22 days of age, catching up, and he's just 22. So the argument here I'm learning is that it looks like the JC is suggesting it's going to get worse as he ages. Osimhen is a big physical player, always going to get injured here and there. That's why you don't have just one striker. And I agree. And my problem is that here's the thing. We don't have the luxury to lose players even for 2 games these days, in my opinion. But I have other concerns. But I get it. Apart from Kane and Haaland, Osimhen is the man for the job, and I'm not arguing against that. That's besides my argument. He's an excellent finisher. He's a fine player, in my opinion. And we need a game host like Eden Hazard. This season, he has so far missed 22 days and will miss a month for AFCON. So all those things come together. So let's just call it, how many days is he going to miss, especially AFCON? And given the young team we have right now, a month is a lot.
So, coach,
If I'm
just a
being
counter
honest,
argument or a perspective. If you say that,
you say born and bred in Nigeria, you know that actually. But I'm just go ahead.
yeah, just a point that came in my mind that I agree that a month is a lot, especially the way where we are, what we need right now. But if we sign Osimhen, it won't be
Go ahead. Were you saying something?
Can you hear me?
Jerry? See?
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can't hear
I
you.
can hear you, Jersey.
Let's move on from that one to the next item we have lined up. Yep, it looks like the internet connection is poor. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. Hopefully, it's not me, because that would be worse than it is right now. Let's move on. I'm not going to waste time. I don't think we'll have too much time. I have a water leak issue in my house, and the restoration company will be here, except if they're late. But if once they arrive, somebody will come tell me. Then I'll try and run off as quickly as I can. This is saying that Chelsea are one of the English clubs most interested in signing Bayer Leverkusen sensation Florian Wirtz, with the German's profile believed to fit perfectly with the Blues' vision and the club's love. I love the versatility he offers in attacking position. For me, I see him as a traditional 10, and we don't have that right now. And I don't mind him coming and switching places with Palmer, because I believe he can play on the flanks too, and Palmer can play centrally. And if we want, you can say, a very fluid attacking phase, if we can sign Florian Wirtz, I'll be happy if we do that. But it remains to be seen whether that's possible. And rumors are that Manchester City are also interested. And the question, if you happen to be Florian Wirtz, wouldn't you go to Man City? If I were him, I'd go to Man City. It takes Chelsea paying me something, you can say, something special in terms of salary for me to not go to Man City and come to me. I just have to be honest. I get it. I'm a Chelsea fan, and I'd like us to sign him. But the possibility, if City are really interested, it isn't looking good. Yep, that's Wirtz. Is that Wirtz? Yep, that's him. Looks 12 there in that picture. That's probably most likely a very young picture of him. But he's an excellent player, and I'd like us to sign him. I wouldn't mind us signing him, and either him or what's his name? Him or Cole Palmer playing as a 10 and the other person playing in the right wing position, in my opinion. And the beautiful game, Chelsea perspective, the comments have disappeared on my screen. Something is wrong. I have to say that something is wrong. Probably it has to do with the internet connection. The signal looks good, I'm not sure. And I pay quite a lot for my internet connection monthly. I think probably they added some money to it, probably around 110 plus monthly right now. So I have to check it. But I don't know. I'll find a solution, and maybe too many devices connected to the internet. I'll find out. Look for a solution, because it's not enjoyable when the stream lags a lot. Reported Chelsea interest in Florian Wirtz of Bayer Leverkusen. You let us know. And this here says Thiago Silva, quoting Thiago Silva, saying, "The end of my career is getting closer. You have to think about when you want to retire. Where do you go as a final club? The family my key to player at Chelsea. I am just focused on and enjoying my final year of contract at Chelsea. I don't know what's going to happen next. And then we've discussed quite a lot why it's important to start learning how to play without him on the pitch. It's going to be difficult whenever he stops playing. Who actually leads the back line? The only player that comes to mind right now is Benoit Badiashile. You can say he's the most intelligent of the center backs we'll have beyond Thiago Silva, and hopefully he's ready to lead. In my opinion, I don't think what's his name, Disasi, can lead that back line as effectively as I believe. That's my opinion, by the way. That Benoit Badiashile can lead that back line. I think he's the more intelligent player of the two. He's better aerially, in my opinion, and he's also better on the ball. An excellent passer of the ball too. But wait, let's see what the club does. So, if you want to have any comments to add to the Florian Wirtz discussion or Thiago Silva's you can say final year as a Chelsea player, let's hear you. We'll move on to the next item while we continue. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. And apologies, given the fact that. Apologies for the liking stream. I don't know what else to do about it, but we'll round up for as soon as possible. 52 million signing Christopher Nkunku will be fit to return from a knee injury after next month's international break, and he could help spark their season into life. I hope we do that before he comes back. We've seen signs, we're making progress, but we have not been consistent. Nobody. I think a lot of people expected us to beat Brentford, and by the time the game ended, the case was the opposite, in my opinion. No, clearly, that's fact, not an opinion. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along with 41 likes. That's not easy. Not too many views, but that's understandable. Let's move on to the next item. If you have anything to say with regards to everything with item, and I hope to see Christopher Nkunku return to foot training so he can help us do better. All right, let's see the other items that lined up here, and this one here interested in signing sorry about the delays. I'm not sure why that is happening. I think we need to round off as soon as possible. The poor internet connection isn't helping. And if you're there, Jude, what do you think? Do you think we should re-sign Marc Guehi, or do you think we should look at other targets? Let's see. Yeah,
Well, I haven't really been following him these days, but before we signed the Sassi Abad.
Seriously, I'm not going to waste time. I'm just going to address all the items we'll have lined and we can call it a day. It's the poor internet connection helping. And this is interesting. I've always said Driss is on Jamal Musiala. I'd really love to keep a fly for Jamal. Is already a top of player today. Sorry?
Okay, are you hearing me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Coach is in and out a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just saying that I haven't been following Guehi recently, but before we signed by that shield, because he was in contention at that time. Well, it depends on how much we are getting him for, but I just think any player will try to do well under Pochettino, because a lot of players are improving. He's not bad. He was doing well in Crystal Palace when he first left Chelsea. So if he comes back, he can also improve. And I think he can blend well with his ex teammates, people that he knew from the academy. It all depends on how much he's coming back for.
All right, just go ahead, Jude. I'll be right back in 1 second. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so if we are not paying premium for him, then I think it's okay. But because if we want to except we want to spend big, there are a lot of defenders out there. And I think we've had enough from France already because they don't because if we want to get more from there, we can, but it will be good to have somebody that has been familiar with our environment. And I think he can also get better on that patch since he's been doing well initially. If anybody wants to respond to it.
Yeah, thank you so much. It doesn't look like Bobby is there. Let me catch up with what we have, and I think we should be rounding
Yeah,
us. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
I didn't want to interrupt. I've forgotten the player we're talking about now. Is it Osimhen? I've forgotten. Who was it?
Musiala.
Watkins?
Musiala. I don't think he comes back to Chelsea. I don't think Bayern will let him go. It'd be stupid for them to let him go. And the other comment here says we talked about Marc Guehi, and I think I remember you've
Yeah,
talked about him too.
yeah,
Where's the Musiala report here? Mark, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to sign him. One of the clubs interested in signing him, but I don't think Bayern will let him go. I want to surround off as soon as possible because the internet connection isn't really helping. Go ahead, Bobby.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Musiala, depends how far he lets his contract run down to and if he wants to come back. He has indicated a liking for the project, but liking the project and actually committing to the project are two different things. So at the moment, I'll agree with you. I think it's unlikely he would come back, but it's not impossible. It really isn't. Guehi, we've
And he still
spoken about.
respects Chelsea. I've heard him speak about Chelsea. He still talks, he speaks highly of Chelsea too. Go ahead.
Very much so, very much so. As an academy kid, he left to go back to Germany, but it wasn't that there was a problem with him. I think it was more or less almost Chelsea even letting him go, not that he seriously wanted to leave or his parents did. Um, Back to the Osimhen situation. Well, it's an interesting one. Another thing we need to be cautious about. I hear you about the injury front, but injury and goal scoring is a big challenge for a big striker in the Premier League because you will be targeted and there's no space for you. I'm one thing I'm looking at him for because I don't know him that well. There's a swag that come with Chelsea's successful strikers. Didier Drogba had it. Uh, 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 Diego Costa had it. Even this guy that came from Barcelona, what's his name? The Cameroonian. What's it?
You're talking about that came. I think you're talking about Eto.
Yes, Eto. There's this sort of swag
Do
that
you
these guys have, and it's like they know they're going to score, and they get you to believe it, and indeed they do score. Um, Osimhen, I don't know. I can't say he hasn't got it, but I'd like to see it. I want to see that swag. I want to see, well, he's a big time international, so he probably does have it. It's just I don't know that much about him to see it. And it's not an arrogance as such, it's just a confidence. Someone like Diego Costa, you wouldn't really call him arrogant, you would just call him aggressive and confident. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, another one. So they're the kind of strikers that end up being successful. If you have a somewhat sort of timid demeanor, over gentlemanly, you don't tend to make it. This is just my take and my opinion, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting,
yeah.
but it could go anyway. But his availability in January is going to be a big, big challenge, and that could swing very much in the favor of Ivan Toney.
All right. Thank you so much. Apologies for the poor internet connection. I think we're better off ending the show now. I'll find a solution to that. I don't know why the internet, what's it called, the Wi-Fi booster himself is showing right on the other side. But you guys next time. No need to waste your time here. This isn't helping. It's irritating. If I'm a viewer myself, I'd be irritated by the lack of stability of the internet, a stable internet or streaming connection. So I'll see you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.